On is our friend Andrew FoFo Gilich, the mayor of the great city of Biloxi. Good morning, Mayor. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You doing okay?
I'm doing good. It's good to have you on the air. How are you making it down there?
We're good. We're good. I think planning for this thing after this thing, so to speak. But you listening to your programs, you do just be aware. Use your head. Be sensible, and we can continue to push these numbers down. I've been looking at different sectors of the business, community and organizations on what we need to do.
You guys,
even like high school graduation, those are all challenges to prevent this spread or another outbreak. So people need to enjoy life under these conditions, and we're trying to figure out how, and then how we can life after this thing is what we're trying to figure out. Some of the different parameters, different sectors need different precautions to make sure this thing didn't come back.
I think every mayor in America is in your position now, and that doesn't give you comfort, but I mean it's a situation that nobody expected. You guys had a closed door meeting on Tuesday, and you just talk about some of those things. Can you maybe tell the audience exactly some of the things you came up with on Tuesday, or as far as the restaurants?
Surely. We took, and then we had done it with the barbershops and hair salons before that, and of course restaurants in their various flavors, like indoor outdoor configurations, as well as some of the fast food. How many people? I think that the thrust is two things that, for me anyhow, I want to go out and get something to eat somewhere instead of picking it up and doing. And I want to go to church too. So those are the two hits that kind of say, man, if we could do this, I think that covers a great percentage of what people need right now. We need to crush this thing for sure. But if we can figure out a solution that when we do reopen, phase by phase, sector by sector, and an outbreak pops loose, we'll have a mechanism. Contact tracing is a big thing, big part of President Trump's plan. The phases 1 to 2 as far as 14 days of downturn and those. So that's what was discussed in different ways for contact tracing and different ways of what people will be doing. As far as density in the restaurant. Some people, some are already kind of set up for the spacing as far as number of seats and number of. As far as restaurants, anyhow.
We talk about outdoor, but I don't think it would matter if it's outdoor or indoor. But I guess probably it would as far as the airflow is concerned. But
yeah,
if you separated people enough,
spacing, we still got to do that. And at this point in time, a restaurant may not serve that much outdoor. Doing a normal course, but they would emphasize that and have a little bit because there's only some. At some point, it doesn't make sense to open. And if you don't have the opportunity to serve, some number of turnovers and some number of folks, you can't hire people. You can't have, you can't sustain the business under those conditions.
Is
that's
there?
What we're trying to figure out what's the best and what's the safest. What's the safest is first, and on my mind is we can't stand another outbreak. And if there is another outbreak, we must be able to isolate those folks and the cross section of people that that happens. And so there's an automated way. We're kind of thinking about using some data that you do in the normal course of credit card and some of these other things that could drop these cross references, these things that the tracers do, contact tracers do. Once CDC says, "Hey, this is a positive. Let's go find out where this guy's been, this person has been." So
are you seeing? Mayor, you see many people any violations down there where people are having parties and things like that on the beach or whatever?
I think Mayor Favre last week talked about some of the things he had experienced on Saturday night when, again, I guess these things ramped up and naturally, it's almost like gravity. They come together. Gravity attracts. But we've had some, but 99% of the folks understand. 1%, nobody gets more frustrated than me with that 1%. And I drive the beach. I drive, different places and see these things, and you get upset. And sometimes I call the chief of police and send somebody down to to break this 4, 5, or 6,
Well,
almost on top of each other.
yeah.
And it doesn't take 10. 4 or 5 sitting together will tackle. It can explode. 1 becomes 10, 10 becomes 100, 100 becomes 1,000. That's what we don't want.
I think people are trying to put together, we saw the nail salons yesterday and how people could do this, or the outdoor seatings. Nobody's come up yet with how we do this at the casinos, and that's a big thing, not only for the entire state, but certainly for the Gulf Coast.
Well, for me, for sure. I got 8 casinos, and a big part of my budget is the successful operations of them and the tax and jobs that they'll do. Reading a plan by the Wind Corporation and some of the Las Vegas plans, we've got 12,000 jobs down here, and in best case scenario, if half of them come back to work and we do half the business by the end of the year, I think we'll be fortunate. So it's a big deal. It's a big hole for Biloxi to fill that the expected revenue, and there's no chance of getting that lost revenue. Like even I think. In Katrina, we had some business loss kind of coverage, but that became really. But it's hard to do. You couldn't get coverage for this kind of thing anyhow. So it's just something we have to work with, and we'll work through it. And we're doing the measures that we can, and we'll take the measures that we need to if we have to. But we want to keep that safe, friendly, and beautiful. The concept that we have, and it'll be across the country. So I think it's sort of a buying opportunity for Biloxi and the coast that, hey, if we're safe and we can operate safely, people are going to be coming here, not jumping on a plane going other places for gaming.
Well, the other thing about that, too, is that infrastructure is needed, and one thing begets another, but things like the cruising on the coast, which will be here before you know it, or at least the decision that you've got to make on that one, they have to have the support, the hotel rooms, and certainly the casinos are a part of that.
6,500 so rooms I have in Biloxi. So and heads and beds is what we need, but we need it safely, so we don't need to bring these new cases in and live with it, because it does explode.
So when will the decision be made as far as the next phase, as far as restaurants are concerned? Well,
the restaurants, again, the governor is going to give us some indication, but we're being proactive in having a plan. It's my plans are sector by sector, at least 2 or 3 sectors at a time. Governor, this is what we're doing. This is what we're planning on operational. The first course of President Trump's plan was a 14-day period where you had a downturn. Where I've been looking at it for Harrison County, and generally the coast, but for Harrison County specifically, if you look at it 14 days at a time, about April 14th, it was about 5.3 new incidents a day. As of yesterday, or whenever Tuesday, I set City Council, it had dropped down to 3.2 incidents per day. So that's a downward turn. I think it's a downward turn on over 14 days. So we'll continue to watch that 14 days at a time, looking back 14 days and averaging. So, I mean, those numbers are the first kicker. And soon as we can say confidently, this is a downturn. The second part of the President's plan was
only got about 10 seconds. Only got 10 seconds here.
The hospitalization. We're not overcome. They're not overwhelmed. From a hospital standpoint, as far as cases. So, but we're plugging away, and we're trying to open up business in a safe.
And look, we'll get back with you. I thank you so very much for joining us. It is always a pleasure. We got final segment.
Always my pleasure. Always my pleasure. Thank y'all.